Plaintiff Alexis Yankee says the defendant was friends with her boyfriend, and she allowed the defendant to move into her home as long as he agreed not to party or use drugs in the home. However, Alexis moved out because the defendant broke both of those rules, and she's suing for utilities and rent. Defendant John Chris says when he moved in with Alexis and her boyfriend, neither of them had jobs. And when Alexis finally got a job, it lasted one day. John denies owing Alexis for anything.
Tell me what's going on.
I met the defendant when I was dating my boyfriend Dylan at the time. We got to know each other.
When was that?
That would have been...
You have no idea when you started dating him?
Oh, yeah, I do. We started dating in July.
That's when you met him.
Yep.
July of...
2013.
You have no idea which year?
2012.
All right.
So yeah, I met him through my boyfriend or whatever. We became good friends. In February, John came to me and asked if he could move in. He had lived with his parents and didn't want to live there anymore. So I said, yes, you could move in. I told him, you know, I have a couple rules. I don't want drugs in my house and no partying.
You say she's a tough landlord? Go ahead.
So.
And no partying.
Yeah, we lived in a small Hollander town, so everyone knew your business. So I gave him those two rules, and shortly after moving in, broke those rules. So.
First off, you never gave me any rules.
Let her finish.
Okay. Well.
Did you speak to him about breaking the rules?
Not really. I mean, I ended up moving out in March just because I was sick of everything.
The next month?
Yes, I ended moving out. I just didn't want it anymore. Didn't want the problems with it. So I ended up moving out. But Dylan still had lived there with him. So, but when I moved out, all the bills were still in my name. The electric bill was supposed to be carried over to his name, and it didn't, so everything was still in my name.
All right. And let me hear from you, background, and then we'll get into the specifics of the bills and the rent.
All right. Been told that I owe $670 for unpaid utilities, which I paid for. But getting to the beginning, yeah, I met Dylan in June of 2012. He started working where I work. He got terminated from the job for sleeping on the job in a corn silo. And then...
Where was he exactly?
Let me stop you there. He wasn't terminated for that. He was terminated for late hours.
I have his termination right here from...
For sleeping?
For sleeping on the job. He was in a corn silo in the side of a corn bin.
He was in the silo?
Yeah, inside of the bin. But what,
he wasn't actually sleeping amongst the corn?
No, not in the corn.
That's what I'm trying to figure.
And then...
Thought the man was sneaking under the corn.
All right. And I met Lexi in July, and yeah, we became great friends. They'd come over to my first apartment. I had an apartment at the time, and they would come over. I mean, we'd drink sometimes, like all of us, and then August came, and that's when...
At least you're smart enough not to admit that y'all were in there smoking weed. A lot of people, young folks coming in, yeah, we would be drinking and smoking weed. At least you're smart enough not to admit what you all were really doing.
Yeah.
All right. So she already knew you drank.
Yeah, well, we were hanging out, and then Dylan got terminated in August 2012. So I moved back in with my parents in September because I couldn't afford the apartment anymore. And then in January, Lexi and Dylan were looking for help. So yes, they were looking for a roommate, and I needed a place to stay, so I did ask, and I knew they were looking for help.
Go ahead.
Basically, when I moved in, none of them had jobs. Dylan got terminated back in August, so that's 6 months without a job.
What made you think they were going to pay their share? How did you assume they would pay their
Because
rent?
Lexi was applying for jobs, and so was Dylan. Lexi got a job, and she quit within the first day. She couldn't even handle it. She went for a CNA.
Let me stop you there. I'm a full-time student, and I was doing CNA. I couldn't handle the hours.
Man.
So.
Yeah, but what I have to say is like, what I have to say is like, all they did was sit at home and smoke weed, had friends over. Like that's all they were doing. I work 50 hours a week. I have my pay stubs. I work 50 hours a week. Plus, I work
50?
nights. Yeah, I work.
You have something that'll show me you worked 50 hours? Ma'am, he couldn't have been doing that much partying.
Yeah.
If he was working
And
50 hours and you were unemployed.
And I work night shift.
Overtime, everything.
Yeah, overtime, everything. So all I have to say is
that you weren't living that party life. You didn't have time.
They didn't have jobs
Don't
this
let
whole.
them
They didn't
fool
have
you.
jobs this whole time. So when they didn't have jobs, and they're saying I didn't owe them money, I have these transactions and check amounts and the dates. They're all highlighted on this piece of paper,
Can
showing
you
that
show
I
me,
Ma'am,
showing
and
that I was
this
paying.
letter, he has a letter from his employer saying that he's worked full time at the mill and from 6 p.m.
Yep.
to 6 a.m.
Yes, sir.
at $14.50 an hour. This man,
Thank you.
He wasn't doing that much partying now. Now, that doesn't mean you necessarily paid your rent and utility. You could have been,
Exactly.
you could have smoked your money up. Go ahead.
All right. And then also, I'd like to get to the cleaning fee.
Now, let her
or-
tell me about the rent and utilities and cleaning fee that she's suing for. Tell me, how so? How does
right.
he owe for that?
For total unpaid utilities, it's $278.30.
For what month?
It is for April or March and April. I have the bills here.
What month does he owe for rent?
That would be April,
How much was his share?
$200.
Okay.
And then cleaning is $180. I talked to a cleaning service that lives right down from me and asked them how much it would be to clean the house, and they said around $180, and I didn't have that money, so I spent the 5 hours cleaning it myself.
Sir, what do you want to tell me?
All right, here we go, Your Honor. I have a very good story for you about this one.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I'd like to.
So funny story is yes, I did pay the landlord back. My witness here.
Landlord back for
For the I paid the $200 for rent for April. Me and my buddy here, which is my roommate now, we just moved back into that house May 1st, the same house that I supposedly got kicked out.
Do you know
of.
that to be the case?
Correct.
Go ahead.
All right, so I moved.
He ain't letting you back in there if you hadn't paid.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I did pay the money and I moved back in there. The cleaning service
Did you
was.
pay it?
For
April, the one, what you're suing for. Did you pay in place of him?
no, I did not.
So how are you suing him for something that you have not paid?
I wasn't living there April, so I didn't have to pay rent. I moved out in March.
Okay, and you didn't pay for April.
No, I wasn't living there.
Right. So how are you asking him to give you money for April when you didn't pay for April?
Our landlord had asked me for it because she had
But have you
originally
paid it?
No.
All right, so tell the landlord, no thank you, I wasn't living there.
All right.
All right.
Go ahead.
Back to the cleaning. I have a statement right here that this man right here cleaned the whole house for $200
Statement from
off the
whom?
rent.
From him?
From the landlord right
From
here.
the landlord?
From the landlord.
So the landlord is
Yeah,
saying you
right
cleaned
here.
it.
He cleaned the whole house, and he said that my area.
I am the
witness-
landlord of the rental of the rental property located at so-and-so. Let it be known that when Lincoln Dawson moved in as a renter, he was given a $200 allowance to clean the house, which included removing garbage. Okay, go ahead.
All right. The upstairs was clean.
Yeah, 'cause I cleaned them.
I did throw a party there, and I'm 21 years old. I'm able to drink. I have 21-year-old parties. It was my house. Dylan gave me the okay that night that I was going to have it. The only reason he
You
wasn't
need
there
to
is 'cause
address
he's-
what you're being sued for. Don't
Okay,
talk yourself
I'm sorry.
into
Yeah, I'm sorry.
talking about your
I'm
party.
sorry.
And you
But I'm
leave
just
that
happy-
alone. You've proven so far that you don't owe a cleaning fee because the landlord says your
Yeah.
current roommate paid everything
And the money-
and did
and I
all the
gave-
cleaning, and in fact gave him a credit.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The utility, the statements that you have right there from the bank, those are the withdrawals of money that I know that I gave to them in cash.
You never gave
The utilities
me
were in your
In
name,
cash
correct?
and in
Correct.
checks.
And you want the utilities for what month again?
March
and April?
and April, correct.
All right, and show me the amount you paid. Evidence that you paid those utilities, because I see you're a little slick here. You were trying to get money, you were trying to get rent money from him, and you didn't live there, and you didn't pay the rent. He paid the rent to the landlord. He didn't owe you. This is a copy of your check showing that you paid $426, and you're saying that should be divided, obviously, between 3 people, right?
Correct.
All right. Sir, it has you having paid $145 as of February 18th. Do you have any evidence that you paid more since that time?
There's on that one of those statements.
This?
It shows the March.
Does it show it went directly to the utility?
No.
It's just a withdrawal of yours.
That's all I have.
Showing that you withdrew some money.
Yeah, I couldn't.
To
no,
party.
The check.
To party with.
No.
I don't know what you withdrew the money for.
I highlighted the check numbers, but I don't have the checks with me.
But you don't have the actual check that shows it's underneath.
I understand that.
Let's see if the amount matches. This was March 15th, $151. And $151 is an odd amount to withdraw or to write a check for, unless it is for a bill. I'm going to take his word, ma'am. You tried to mislead me on the rent, and he certainly has proven that the cleaning fee has been taken care of, and the rent, he doesn't owe you. You misled me on that totally. Your claim is dismissed, ma'am. Have a good day.
Thank you. Don't try to get money from me no more.
Don't worry, I'll get the money. All I gotta say is I hate you. You know you owe me the money, and you know, all these people might see, you know, your little act, but really you're a punk. You owe me this money.
And you haven't had a job and you're broke, so it doesn't matter.
I can't have a job. I'm a full-time student. I have my CNA license. So don't pull that card. I make more money than you an hour.
I see plenty of other people that have full-time CNA jobs, plus go to school on the halftime, plus do it vice versa.
Well, considering my hours change every day, it doesn't work.
Sorry that you like to smoke so much.
I'm sorry that you're a drug addict and you suck at life.